Welcome to the NYXUS Podcast. Today, Season 1, Episode 2, Let the Day Perish. Here we go. Welcome, guys. You guys introduce yourself real quick.
My name is Juan Marrero. I play guitar and founded Let the Day Perish.
My name is Ian. I play bass and do bass things, yeah.
My name is Jose Marrero. I'm Juan's little brother. I do vocals and write all the lyrics for our song so far.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
What was the first instrument that you guys ever played?
For me, it was guitar.
I guess I'll say, everybody did recorder in third grade. If we want to get super technical. But my first instrument was actually saxophone in fifth grade.
Mine was also recorder in the third grade. Actually, mine was guitar. Growing up, having my brothers, to include Juan, play guitar, I just kind of followed. I didn't pursue it as much as he did, and I quickly, at a young age, started getting into singing a lot of covers. They would tell me to, hey, sing. So I end up singing a lot of old metal that we grew up on as they played guitar.
We kind of bullied him into hey, you need to do this, because he was the youngest run. So,
I mean, whatever works. I mean, you guys sound amazing right now.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I added you guys to the show's playlist. I started a little playlist. Hopefully, helps you guys.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome, guys. How do you guys describe your music?
I just describe ourselves as a metal band. Sometimes I'll get questions like, well, what kind of metal? I'm like, I don't know, metal. I'm a little older in age, and so my influences range from all styles of metal, from the 80s to up till now. And so I just consider ourselves a metal band with, heavy guitars, I guess maybe groovy riffs and metalcore vocals and melodic vocals.
That's a very elaborate answer there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of side with that. When I talk to people, I'm like, oh yeah, we're a metalcore band. I throw into core. I've also always wanted to be in a metalcore band, and here we are.
Yeah.
Nice. Where do you guys find inspiration for your music?
Jose can answer this one.
So as far as inspiration, music wise, is just some of the roots that we grew up on listening. But I'm very much the type that I can listen to a lot of old stuff, and I know that's the foundation, but I like fresh new stuff. So part of my inspiration and motivation is hearing some of the new types of metal bands out there and how they kind of push the envelope as far as just different ideas. Music can get kind of stale after a while, a lot of the sounding the same, but when you hear bands try new stuff or just sound different but unique, but also the message. So I could really relate with bands that really have a clear message about really a lot of it's tied in with life. You could tell when there's experience as far as trials in life and overcoming obstacles in life. So I think what Juan was getting at is the first few songs, our debut songs, like My Dark Sky, is really personal for us. We tied in stuff that Juan had been through, and we talked about it, and we really came up with a concept, and we just it's kind of one of those things to kind of give a tribute to what we went through, and that we're still here. We're still standing. We're still creating music that we can relate. We can relate with our listeners and, our fan base. Even being small, there's a lot of are friends that are in the metal scene too, and they can kind of really relate with the message in the lyrics. The second song, Invisible Wounds, is really personal to me because being a combat veteran and having to deal with those trials of PTSD, and not only that, seeing some of my friends, unfortunately losing some of my friends due to suicide and veteran suicide, that really hit close to home. In fact, that song was really challenging for me because I definitely wanted to do my justice in creating that song. So Juan painted a picture, and Ian adding the bass line that just fits all perfectly, and they pretty much set the canvas up, and I had to just write, and it took a little bit, and it took a lot of, it's really the emotional, as far as, not draining. I wouldn't say draining, but like as far as it was really hard, even, emotionally, to kind of get through that. And I kind of had to piece it out. But my inspiration is just knowing that, our music is just not music thrown together. It's got a message behind it. And it's a message that a lot of our listeners, friends of mine, buddies of mine that are still in the military that are dealing with that, and, letting them know that there's, hope and we can relate with that. That's really the inspiration behind it, is us telling our personal stories and also stories of others, and knowing that there's hope out there. There's hope through our music, and it's just one of those things like that.
We just listened to My Dark Sky. You guys want to talk about the song?
My Dark Sky is a song about, enduring like struggles. You know, no matter who we are, we're always going to have a time in our life where we're actually going through some struggles. And it really was a song of, letting people know that no matter what you're going through, we're all going to hit that patch. But no matter what we're going through is there's hope, there's light at the end of that tunnel. And yeah, that's my thought behind it all.
Nice. We can find you guys on Spotify, right? You guys are on the playlist from the show. Other than that, every major streaming platform, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yep.
Let the Day
sure.
Perish. What's the story behind your band name?
Ooh. Me being a Christian, and going through struggles, I was reading in the Bible one day about a guy that was a really good man. He was considered like this holy man, this like good follower of God, right? And so it really struck a chord with me in one of the verses when this dude was plagued with disease. His children were killed. He lost everything, his business, and his friends came to rally around him, and he mourned. And he was plagued with disease too. He mourned for like 7 days, and the first thing out of his mouth, here's this guy that seemed to have it all together, doing everything right, tackling life the right way, and the first thing out of his mouth after 7 days was he yelled out, "Curse the day I was born, let the day perish." And to me, that was like something showing me that everybody has things in their life where they, regret they were born. I was a youth leader for the last five-ish years, and to deal with youth that were these young teens that were that contemplated suicide, regretted that they were ever born, just struggling in life. It broke my heart. And when I read that, I really knew that, hey, this is not something that this is something that plagues almost anybody. And it's something that needs to be talked about and dealt with. So that's where the name Let the Day Perish came from. It signifies, you know what, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, no matter how good or bad you are, we're all going to face times in life where we're struggling, man. And so I thought, I started trying to, I started a band and, looking for a name, and I read that and it stuck. And it was like, you know what, we can be a positive influence in the world. And that's really when I started the band, I really wanted to, whatever we did, I wanted to go hard, right? Go heavy, but I still want to deliver a message of hope to broken people.
I like that. I like that message. See, that's why I like asking that question, because usually there's a really good story behind band names. If you guys could give an advice to your younger self, what would it be?
It's a good question for Ian.
I was just hoping to not get called out for that. Because yeah, that is a tough one. Oh, excuse me, I got a little tickle in my throat. My guess would be, don't be so afraid to ask for help, I guess. And it sounds kind of generic, but in a sense, I mean that in, I guess, an overall generic way. Because it really can apply to almost every facet of life. But more specifically, thinking about, having gone through my career and various projects like that, but more so, I guess, thinking emotionally, like, I just tried to, like, tackle my way through everything. And I had a pretty good sense of, like, hey, I can do this, no problem. But there was a lot of stuff that would have made the overall quality of my life a lot easier if I'd have just asked for help. And more recently, I guess that's kind of tying into, going into some mental health issues, which also applies to the song that Jose was speaking of earlier.
Yeah.
And actually, like, was thinking about it. It's kind of interesting. Today, actually, I just started my first day of antidepressants. And it's because I finally had the courage to, like, hey, like, yes, I have a problem here. There's something I need to do about it. Reached out to my wife and my family, and, she encouraged me to go seek professional help for it. And I'm really glad that I've done that.
That's awesome.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
and I'm happy that you can talk about it, because it's something that we need to talk about, especially men's mental health. Men are taught from a very young age to man up and to, boys don't cry, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
So congratulations
I
on
agree.
getting help.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So who's your inspiration? Musician, band,
Is this still me or?
anybody?
Have at it, brother. Yeah, it's still you.
All right. Inspiration. Honestly, it's a whole gamut. Ultimately, I love music. Growing up, I was actually raised on a little bit of country, a little bit of rock, a little bit of R&B and soul. My first concert ever was Garth Brooks. But like, even though my mom took me to my first concert of Garth Brooks, she also was the person who took me to see Nickelback a whole bunch of times, and I'm not ashamed of that. But she also took me to see Disturbed, and we've seen Trapped, and we've been to music festivals, and I think a large part of it is like overall, just there's never been a genre of music that was off the table. And I guess I kind of try to want to pull a little bit from everywhere as far as inspiration.
just heard Let the Day Perish, second song, Invisible Wounds.
We'll let Jose talk about it, since he's raw veterans here in our band, which is pretty cool. But my brother Jose is a combat veteran and multiple tours, and so he's the one that wrote the song and works in the field, and so we definitely want to let him talk about that.
So Invisible Wounds comes from, the standpoint that I've experienced firsthand. I really like what Ian mentioned earlier. And again, Ian, thank you for sharing, because it does take a lot of courage to one, seek help, one, acknowledge that you have a problem. And that's kind of how my journey started with, dealing with my own personal PTSD from being in the military. Especially in the military, and especially the field that I was in, it's very, like alpha male and suck it up and drive on, mission first, and to actually seek help and, find help and ask for help and actually get help is important. It's just, that's like one of the hardest steps to do. And it is a continual, process. So Invisible Wounds, when that whole, when we decided to write that song, kind of like how Juan came up with the name of the band, a few things crossed my mind, and I was like, I really think we need to talk about this subject, because, there's some bands that have it out there too, but we have an opportunity to kind of voice it some more and really contribute to the goal and the mission of lowering veteran suicide, bringing more awareness. So I really tried to articulate like what I've gone through, and was kind of tough because I had to go back to like when I first started, hitting rock bottom, getting a DUI, my career, everything started, coming to an end because it was time to retire anyways. And I sought help. I have friends that told me, hey, advise me, go seek help. And then I became an advocate within the military still. So I lucked out, I say, because I started getting help before I even retired from the military. And it made my transition out of the military a little bit easier. It was still difficult, but what we experience in combat and in foreign countries and doing our job, which we signed up for, I do miss it sometimes, a lot of times, more of the people, the camaraderie. But when when you're alone, it feels, and you're struggling with that, you're battling those demons in your head. You're battling what you were exposed to. Some of the lines talk about that, pretty much vivid, as far as, trying to front like I'm acting like I'm okay, but I'm really struggling, having relapses. And it is a whirlwind. That's how, like, the beginning of the song, it's really fast, heavy, and Juan did a really good job, and Ian did a really good job painting that picture of, really, before I even get on the mic and say the first lyrics, of really stirring up those feelings that a lot of veterans have inside that struggle through PTSD. I currently work for a nonprofit that I'm blessed to work with veterans that struggle with that, and TBI, traumatic brain injury, and MST, military sexual trauma. And part of having that experience on the back end of working with veterans also helped feed into the lyrics. And I really wanted to make sure I got the lyrics right, pass it along to some of my veterans. They're like, man, it's good, so that helped Juan's input and Ian's input. All that stuff has been tremendous. But really, it's a song about PTSD from the veteran standpoint. They talk about, I look in the mirror basically, and all I see is the enemy, myself. What brings them to that point. A lot of the things that they did, for serving, they start dealing with all those questions, but we still have to live on, right, and think positive, and it's really hard. So, but it also talks about how there's breakthrough, just like My Dark Sky. There's breakthrough because, and it's not just coming from, hey, yeah, be happy. And it's a constant struggle. The journey starts. It's really, you can't, you really can't get rid of PTSD, TBI, what one would experience through MST, military sexual trauma. But there are tools. There's getting professional help. There's community awareness. There's groups. There's veteran combat groups, several that I'm part of. There's a lot of nonprofit out there that really do their part on helping out. There's a lot of fundraising and just other events, but really a lot of it's community, because veterans, when they get out, they lose that military community. They lose that, hey, being part of that team. And sometimes it's hard to transition into the civilian life. But when we provide those communities, it kind of brings that back. But also, we help each other. We're ambassadors for each other. We lift each other up, our brothers and sisters. And then we also share, we share on coping.
Website? Is there a, you know what I mean? Is there a website? Is there an email?
There are several websites. If people Google, I know for our song, we do have the Veterans Crisis Line. And Juan, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the 988, is it?
It is like 24/7 hour support for veterans. You can text, let's see here. Yeah, it's the 988 number, then press 1. It's all you have to do is dial 988 and then press 1, and you'll be able to chat or even text with somebody if you're struggling and you need help.
And we made sure on our lyric video of Invisible Wounds that is posted at the end of the song, and that's there, and those are trained professionals on like suicide intervention and stuff, and they're actually trained and on those skills of really not being afraid to talk about it. A lot of people changing that stigma of like, oh, that's something we don't talk about, and we need to be aware. We need to be bold and ask people, have those tough questions. Sometimes it's us. It's hard for us to actually ask, but it really is the right thing to do, because some people can beat around the bush and, oh no, they're fine, and then but really when you ask those tough questions, a lot of the hurting people, they actually perk up, because you're genuine and you really ask. You feel like you care, and which we do. It's just tough. We try to beat around the bush on that topic, but it's obviously a pandemic. It's happening at a high rate, and it's an ongoing war with that. So. But as far as that, there's a lot.
Open platform here to talk about it. Can even bring you guys back at a later date, and you know what I mean. Have another type of conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
I think
for you guys.
That's awesome. We appreciate you and everything you do, Melany.
Absolutely.
It's super awesome of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely a topic, like Jose said, with veterans. It's a topic, for me being a youth leader. That kids today are dealing with. It's all real in each one of mine, Jose's, and Ian's life. We've had all of our moments, maybe not combat related, but we all had our pretty brutal struggles like that, and that we had to, wake up and really deal with it. So, and I'm okay with talking about that. I've seen that. If I open up, and Jose will tell you the same thing with his veterans, if you open up and you have those conversations, you'd be surprised what you can do just by listening and just by having an open ear and an open heart to people.
Absolutely. I think it's very important. So musically, what's the plan in the coming months?
So we have a couple collaborations with some artists, a couple artists, and I want to tell you who, but I can't. So, but we have a couple songs that we're collaborating on with other bands and musicians. We also have another single of our own that we're almost done with. hopefully in the next couple months or so that we'll be releasing that. And in sometime this year, later on in the year, we may be working with we will be working with the Wave audio production, the Wave APS, and War Drum Studios out of San Antonio-ish area in Texas. We're working on things to do some stuff with them, whether it's live footage or studio performance. But we're working out the details with that. We love those guys at the Wave, and we love what they're doing in Texas, and we love what they're doing in the metal community. That's a name to really pay attention. They own a recording studio, and they do all kinds of stuff in promoting music and stuff. And I'm excited for what they have coming. And
Sounds
we love
really
those guys.
exciting. Like I'm excited.
It is. We love those guys so
have
much, and they are on fire. You know, and they have. You know, so it gets me. I'm getting pumped up just thinking about what they're doing. So we'll be working with them sometime before the end of the year.
That's amazing. Where can we find you guys if we open up social media forums? If we open up, where's the best place to find everything we need to find about you guys?
www.letthedayperish.com. It has on our website. It has all our social media platforms we have. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think we actually have a Twitter, but I'm like never on it. I haven't got used to Twitter yet, but we have a Twitter. We're on all the music streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and we have a YouTube page. And we have our merchandise on that www.letthedayperish.com site. So you'll be able to access everything at letthedayperish.com.
Well, there we have
If
it.
you want to buy cool coffee mugs, banners, t-shirts, hoodies, it's there too.
There we go.
I do want to take time too.
Yes.
And so everybody hears it here on your podcast first. We're getting ready to start looking for an actual drummer, a permanent drummer for Let the Day Perish.
Oh.
So if anybody out there is interested in the 757 area code, or really anywhere, as long as it logistically works out, preferably in this area. But yeah, we're getting ready to start posting ads for that. So
come drum for us.
yeah.
Well, I hope that we can help you find somebody.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to offer you the same thing I offered to Call of Sirens that were here on the first episode. Would you guys like to come back in 6 months and talk again and see where you guys are at and see who's the new drummer?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Why not?
Yes, I'm totally down for that.
Awesome. So I'll make sure to message you. So I appreciate you guys
Awesome.
being on the show. Anything
Thank you very much
you
for
want
having
to say
us.
before we go?
www.letthedayperish.com. Go buy stuff, go listen to stuff, and go watch stuff.
And tell your friends.
And yeah, go ahead.
And everybody tell all your friends when you do check out the stuff so they can do the same.
There you go. That's it.
Different.
Yeah, and Melany, man, we love you and we love what you're doing
so much.
So
for the
much.
music community, and we're super grateful for you and people like you that give your time to interview people like us and help us, and so we were super appreciative of that.
Super
So,
psyched.
That's so sweet. I appreciate you guys being on the show.
thank you for having
Thank
us.
Thank
you.
you so much.